La 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 la. C1D.
Hey there, Andrew, C1D Paintball. Yeah, I did it again, another AI video, and just in case you didn't know, there's a reaction video from my C1D Paintball podcast co-hosts, Connor, Mike, and Jeff react live to this video. If you haven't seen that, and if you have seen that and you're watching this for the first time, you'll get to hear it without all the comments and such. Enjoy. Remember, it's only a game.
Warzone, the Purple Haze. The rain didn't just fall at Warzone Paintball, it bled from a charcoal sky, turning the staging area into a godforsaken swamp of oil and mud. Andrew stood at the rusted gate, his eyes narrowed like a man who had seen too many lost causes. Beside him, his son Connor adjusted his mask, his knuckles white against the grip of his marker. "Place looks like a graveyard, Dad," Connor muttered, the wind whipping his words away. Andrew didn't blink. "It's about to become one for some assholes," he growled. They weren't there for a friendly game. They were there to see if the rumors of the Warzone rot were true. Inside the cramped pro shop, the air smelled of stale sweat and cheap CO2. Natalie, the field lead, looked like she hadn't slept since the Bush War. She leaned over the counter, her voice a jagged whisper. "You shouldn't have come," she said, eyeing Andrew's gear. "The mighty Lewis and his pack of hyenas have turned this place into their personal torture chamber. They cheat, they overshoot kids until they bleed, and they treat my staff like literal shit. If I try to call a foul, they threaten to burn the place down. We're losing everyone." Andrew leaned in, his shadow looming large on the wall. "Not everyone, Natalie." Just then, the door kicked open, and the mighty Lewis himself swaggered in, trailing the scent of arrogance and cheap cologne. He was a mountain of meat wrapped in high-end jersey gear, his marker slung over his shoulder like a trophy. He smirked at Natalie, ignoring Andrew entirely. "Hey, sweetheart, make sure the chrono is set to 'Don't ask, don't tell' today," Lewis barked, his voice dripping with malice. "We like our shots hot and our targets crying. And if I see one ref call a hit on me, there's gonna be a fucking problem." He spat on the floor, the ultimate gesture of a man who thought he owned the world. Andrew didn't say a word to Lewis. He didn't have to. The next weekend, the mud at Warzone groaned under the weight of a different beast, Team C1D. Andrew stood at the head of the formation, flanked by Mike, the veteran with a 1,000-yard stare. Behind them, the rest of the crew, Miranda, Jeff, Jean, and the others, checked their optics in silence. "We play clean, but we play hard," Andrew told the group, his voice like grinding stones. "Lewis and his goons think they're the kings of this shit heap. Today, we show them what happens to kings in a revolution." The village field was a nightmare of bamboo thickets, rotting wooden huts, and waist-high grass, all drowned in a relentless, icy downpour. It was a slice of 1960s, Nam dropped into the middle of nowhere. Connor moved through the tall grass with Miranda, their movements synchronized and silent. "They're over the ridge," Miranda whispered, her eyes sharp behind her thermal lens. Suddenly, a barrage of hot shots whistled overhead, shattering the bamboo stalks like glass. The mighty Lewis wasn't playing by the rules. They were shooting at velocities meant to break skin, not just mark it. "Cheating bastards," Connor hissed. The battle erupted into a cacophony of pneumatic hisses and wet thuds. Jeff and Rob were pinned down behind a stack of water drums, the plastic shredded by a hail of illegal, high-velocity paint. "They aren't calling their hits," Rob yelled over the roar of the rain, wiping a smear of blue paint off his own shoulder that he'd taken from a bounce. Across the clearing, the mighty Lewis team stood out in the open, laughing as they shrugged off clear hits to their chests. They were ghosts in the rain, invincible only because they lacked the goddamn honor to admit they were dead. "Now, pop the smoke," Andrew's voice cracked over the radio. Jeff didn't hesitate. He yanked the pin on a specialized canister and hurled it into the center of the village. A thick, oppressive cloud of deep purple smoke erupted, swirling with the rain to create a surreal, violet hellscape. Andrew moved through the haze like a predatory shark, his silhouette appearing and disappearing in the mist. "Move up! Push them into the huts!" he roared. C1D surged forward, the purple smoke masking their advance and leveling the playing field against the cheaters' superior firepower. In the chaos of the purple fog, Connor sprinted toward the main hut, his heart hammering against his ribs. He didn't see the slicked root hidden beneath the mud. With a sickening, wet snap that echoed even over the gunfire, his ankle gave way. Connor went down hard, his leg twisting at a grotesque, impossible angle. He let out a strangled scream, clutching his mangled limb as the mud swallowed him. His marker slid out of reach, and the world began to spin. He was a sitting duck, exposed and broken in the middle of the kill zone. The purple smoke parted like a curtain, revealing Lewis standing over the fallen boy. Lewis didn't offer a hand. He raised his marker, aiming it directly at Connor's head from 3 feet away, a bonus ball that would cause real damage. "Playtime's over, kid," Lewis sneered. But before he could pull the trigger, a blur of orange and green erupted from the shadows. Michelangelo, dressed in full TMNT regalia, but moving with the lethality of a Spec Ops soldier, lunged forward. Thwip, thwip, thwip. 3 orange splats blossomed on Louis's mask and chest before he could react. "Cowabunga, motherfucker!" Michelangelo growled, his voice a low rumble of justice. The mighty Lewis slunk away into the rainy night, their reputations shattered and their bullying finished. As the sun began to break through the clouds the following morning, the village felt different. It was no longer a place of fear. Andrew sat on the back of his truck, watching Natalie laugh as she signed in a line of new players. Connor sat beside him, his leg in a heavy cast, a soda in his hand. C1D had found a home, and Warzone Paintball had found its soul. "We did it, Dad," Connor said, leaning back. Andrew looked at the field, a rare smirk touching his lips. "Yeah, kid, we did."
Game over.